Hello, and welcome to Bio 239. I'm your instructor, Professor Adrienne Foster Scharf. Now that we're ending the second week of class, it seems that enrollments in our class have stabilized. So if you've been here from the beginning of the semester, hello again, and if you're new to the class, welcome. By now, hopefully you've had a chance to kind of look around our course space, take a look at the syllabus. Maybe you've already done Chapter 1 of the course and are working on Chapter 4. You should have also completed your first virtual lab on the lab rules and aseptic techniques. Now you should be working on the equipment and media in the lab and the Pure Cultures Cultural Transfer Lab. Now, if you're just getting into the course this week, please get the assignments that are on your course calendar in as quickly as you can, but I understand there's probably going to be a little variation in when everybody can get the assignments to me. I do expect that by about the third or fourth week of the semester, everyone's caught up on the lab. Okay, so just keep working. Let me know how things are going. I wanted to take a few minutes to just review a few important points about your course and make sure that everyone is up to speed. By the way, if you're new here, your syllabus, your assignments, and information about this course can all be accessed using the menu on the left side of your screen. So this course considers the general and the medical aspects of microorganisms. We're going to talk about bacteria, viruses, we'll talk about fungi, we'll spend a little bit of time looking at parasitic helminths as well. I'll introduce you very briefly to the algae and prions or prions as well. So we're going to talk about a wide variety of microbes, and periodically I'll talk about their importance in the environment around us and what they're doing to support our lives, and then I'll talk a little bit about how they affect human health as well. We'll also talk a bit about how you identify microorganisms in the laboratory. Let's say a patient comes into you and they're sick with some sort of infection. How do you figure out what microbe is causing that infection? We'll talk about that a little bit. We'll also talk about how people contract infections. We'll talk about sources and modes of infection. A big part of this class, probably 1/3 of it, give or take, is how we inhibit and control the growth of microorganisms. We'll look at antiseptics, disinfectants, antibiotics. We'll also talk a little bit about how your own immune system tries to protect you from infection by a whole host of microbes. We'll talk a little bit about sanitation. I'll talk for a chapter or two about bacterial physiology. Now, you've already had anatomy and physiology by now, so you know that physiology is how things work. So we'll talk a little bit about how bacteria work, and we'll talk a little smidge about genetic engineering. For the lab portion of this class, we'll look at some basic lab techniques that anyone who's been through a microbiology class should be familiar with. To be in this class, you should have had Bio 234 either previously or you're taking it while you're taking micro. You could have also had Bio 154, that's the human physiology, or you could have taken the Bio 121, which is the majors version of college bio. All of this presupposes that you've had some chemistry, you've had some biology, and this is not your first science class. If you're not a Bristol student, then as long as you've had a basic college level majors biology, then you should be fine. This implies that you've had some biology in high school and chemistry, and for your best understanding in this course, you should have had those courses in the last 5 years or so. So this is my contact information. The best ways to contact me are by email. My email address is adrienne.fosterscharf@bristolcc.edu. And if you send me an email, a couple of things you want to do. Number one, make sure you're sending your email from either our course space. So in Blackboard, there's an email link on the left side of the screen. You can use that to send email. Or you can send email from Outlook or some other email client. You just need to make sure that you're using your Bristol CC email address. Okay, so you've got to use your Bristol address. The other thing that I need you to do is to make sure you put Bio 239 in the subject line so that I know that the email is coming from someone in this class and I can put on my micro hat as I read your email. I'm pretty good at answering email in a pretty timely manner. Usually I respond within about 24 hours. If it's the weekend, I might wait until Monday to answer. But during the week, 24 hours or less is what I aspire to, and I usually meet that. The other way to the other way to contact me is by using the Remind app. So this is an app that basically guards your personal information and my personal information, but it allows you to text me. And so sometimes you get a faster response by Remind just because I happen to be away from my computer and not looking at my email, but I do get those texts. And for quick questions, it's an excellent way to get your question answered. So I highly recommend it. You can access the Remind app via the link in your course space. I believe I have a link in your course space. So you can do it that way, or you can navigate to remind.com using your web browser. And then the code for this class is F as in Foxtrot 6289, C as in Charlie. So you just put that in and it will enroll you in this class. You can send me texts and I can send you texts. Information about when I'm usually checking my email and when I'm checking my texts is in the communication policies in your course space. Please do not call me on the phone or try to go by my office on the Attleboro campus. For the next semester or so, we are probably going to be online, and so I will not be available via these two methods of communication. So if you really want an answer, email and text is the best way to go. I have office hours every Monday through Thursday from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. You can access the office hours through the link on the left side of your course space. It says something like office hours and then it gives you the Monday through Thursday 9:30 to 10:30. So you just click that link. We're using Zoom this semester, so it'll take you to a waiting room and then I'll admit you to the room and you can ask questions. We can sit and chat. It's completely up to you. But I am there from 9:30 to 10:30 unless I say otherwise. So I know a couple of times during the semester I'm going to have to move my office hours, but I'll let you know via the course announcements when that's going to occur. What do you need for this course? Well, one thing that you need is a textbook. And you have two options. You can use this textbook by Totora, Funk, and Case. So this is available through the campus bookstore and they'll actually mail it to your house. You could get it at Amazon or another bookseller on the internet. Or you can use this. This is a textbook, it's microbiology at OpenStax. So this is a textbook that's free to use, and it's actually written in conjunction with the American Society for Microbiology. I will tell you the truth. Initially, when I designed this course, I did it using the Totora, Funk, and Case book, but I'm switching to the OpenStax Microbiology because I see free textbooks as just a more sustainable option for students. But that said, if you choose to use the Microbiology by OpenStax, just be aware that some of the information is coming out of the Totora, Case, and Funk. That information is in my lecture notes, so you'll still have access to it, but you may not be able to find the same information in the same chapter in the OpenStax because, again, I designed my lectures based on the Totora, Funk, and Case. But in your syllabus, I have put where to find the information from the lectures in the OpenStax textbook. So you should be able to use it. It just may not be neatly packaged into one chapter. Please let me know how you're doing with that textbook over the semester because, as I said, I'm transitioning to that textbook, but the transition isn't complete yet. So if there are things that are missing, please let me know so that I can find alternative sources for them. You also need a computer with stable internet access. Your exams will all be online. And so you're going to need to have a stable internet access for your exams. You can surf the course space using your phone. It just may not work quite as well. My lectures are on YouTube, so that you can play with no problem, but interacting with other elements may be slightly more challenging on a cell phone. You will need software for making PDFs or docx files. So docx, this is the file format for Microsoft Word, and you have Microsoft Word access through your Access BCC. So you should be able to download that to your computer, Microsoft Word, if you don't have it already. For making PDFs, I recommend a bit of software called CamScanner. Some other students have used TinyPDF. Both of these programs will take a file on your computer and convert them into a PDF. And this is how you can submit your assignments. Okay, so you'll use either a PDF or a docx file. If you happen to have an iPhone, the Notes app and the Notes app on some of the older phones will allow you to make a PDF, and there's other ways for making PDFs on iPhones if you have one of the more current versions. So you can look in Google, type in your iPhone model, and then the keywords make a PDF, and it should show you YouTube videos that you can use for making PDFs. But that's how you'll submit your assignment. If you submit your assignment in something that's not a PDF, not a docx file, I can read JPEGs and TIFFs, so those are also options. If you're not using any of those formats, then I cannot read your assignment and you cannot get graded for it. So please, please, please make sure you use one of these formats. Again, it's PDF, docx, GIF, or sorry, JPEG, that's .jpeg or JPG, or you can use, I believe, TIFFs, which are .tiff, but those are usually large files. You'll need an internet browser. Please use Firefox or Chrome. There are elements of the Blackboard course space that are not compatible with every browser, but we know that these two work well, so please use Firefox or Chrome. You can also surf our course web space using the Blackboard app, so you'll need that too. The last thing that you're going to need definitely is time. So we're basically going to cover 15 weeks of microbiology, both lab and lecture, in 6 weeks. So that means that we're going to be moving almost twice as fast as during a normal semester. Keep in mind that microbiology is a weighty topic. There's a lot of information there, and now we're going to basically speed it up a bit. You really need to have enough time in your schedule to listen to the lectures, make notes, and do your assignments. I recommend that you set aside about 24 hours during the week to get through your course materials. I found out from students who took this same course in the first 6 weeks of the semester that may not be quite enough time. It's doable in 24 hours, but you may find that you need a little bit more time. So just make sure you set aside enough time to get everything done. One of the most important things that I can share with you during this video is how you'll get graded. This course is divided into lecture and lab. The lecture is worth 75% of your grade total, and the lab is 25%. But you have to pass the lab to pass the course. That is departmental policy, and so we have to follow it. So just be aware, you've got to pass the lab if you want to pass the course. For your lecture, there are going to be 4 exams, exams 1, 2, 3, and the final exam. The dates for these exams are in your syllabus, so I urge you to go ahead and take a peek at when those exams will be and maybe put them in your calendar. I will make sure that they're in your course calendar so you can kind of see where they're coming. Each exam is worth 100 points. Exams 1, 3, and the final are mostly multiple choice short answer questions with a few essays, like a handful of essays. Exam number 2 has multiple choice, but then you have a large number of vignettes and stories and scenarios that you have to read about and then answer questions on. And all of this will be based on what's in your lecture, what we've talked about in the lecture. Now, before you panic and get anxiety, I will tell you that I give practice exams so that you can get like a preview of what could be on the exam before you actually take the exam. The practice exams are in the same format as the actual exam, and some of the questions on the practice exam show up on the actual exam, so it's worthwhile to do it. And I'll give you homework credit for it, so I highly recommend it. I do try to grade your exams in a timely manner. Exam 2 usually takes a bit longer just because it's a longer exam and takes more time, but I usually get your exam grades back within a week. Each exam is worth 100 points. In addition to the exams, you'll also have homework assignments that you'll need to complete, and there's 125 points worth of homework that you need to complete by the end of the semester. Now, I will have enough opportunities that there'll be almost twice this number of homework points, so there's something like 250 homework points out there. So you can choose what assignments you want to do. You don't have to do all of them. The goal is just to make sure you have at least 125 points. In the past, I have been asked what happens if I have more than 125 points. Well, if you have more than 125, depending upon how much more you have, you may get bonus credit for it. So if you find the homework interesting and want to do it, then by all means do it. The more points you have, the more bonus you get. Okay. Now, the easiest way to get to 125 points is to do those practice exams that I mentioned. Each practice exam is worth 25 points, so if you do all 4 of them, that's 100 out of the 125 that you need for the semester. Then you only need to do 2 or 3 extra assignments to complete your homework score. When is the homework due? Great question. I will provide a suggested due date for the homework, and I'll post that to your course calendar, which can be found in the link on the left side of your screen. Now, we're in some really unusual times right now, and it's very hard sometimes to stay on schedule with, kids doing remote learning, trying to do your job. Then there's coronavirus and, all sorts of other stresses that we wouldn't ordinarily have in a semester. So I'm a little more flexible on the due dates than I might have been ordinarily. As long as you get the homework and assignments in by the exam date for that assignment, I will still grade it and give you full credit. So for example, if there's a homework that you see in Chapter 4 that you like and you want to do it, but you don't do it by the due date, as long as you get that homework assignment in by the time you take Exam 1, I'll still grade it. I'll still take it. Okay, so that goes for the entire semester. I'll give you a suggested due date just to kind of keep you up to date and to keep you going forward in the class so that everything doesn't snowball on you at one time. But if you don't make that suggested due date, then you do have until the exam for that assignment. So if it's a homework in Chapter 8, then that would be due by exam number 2. If it's a homework in Chapter 13, or when we do viruses, then that would be on Chapter 3. So you just need to make sure that you keep up with the homeworks and have them in by the exam date. So altogether, the exams and the homework assignments give you 525 points. We're doing online labs this semester. So that's what the lab assignments are. So I will present a series of videos, or there might be an experiment for you to do, and then you'll answer questions based upon what you've seen, or you'll keep track of your experiment over time, and you'll hand in that work during the semester. Your lab assignments are worth 138 points. So far, you've had quizzes that you have to do based upon videos that you've seen or readings that you've done. Later on, you may have to interact with a website and then take a picture of your work and then send that to me. There's a whole range of things that you might have to do. Just keep an eye on the assignments as they come out and ask me any questions that you might have about them. I'm happy to help and answer them. The last part of your lab is a lab exam. So this happens the week before your final, and it's basically like a quiz, multiple choice, short answer, based upon the lab concepts that you've been learning and working on for the semester. So you'll submit that online for a grade. Altogether, your lab assignments are 175 points. Now, just a note about the labs. The labs or the lab assignments are due weekly. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of flexibility that I can give you on the labs, but you just want to make sure that when the lab assignment comes out, you've done it and completed it and handed it in by the following week. Just to be clear, so if I give you the assignment on one Tuesday, it is due by the next Tuesday, by the following Tuesday. One more thing I should tell you is that there is an attendance policy for this course. Please make sure that you log into the course space every week to view your lectures, to look at your assignments, keep up with announcements, and your course materials. One of the challenges of taking a class online is that it's very easy to become disengaged and fall behind. We really have to work hard this semester to make sure that we keep up so that we can complete the class and be successful. You want to look back on this in December or at the end of the semester and say, hey, I made it. I did that. And look at my A. The way to get to an A is to keep working on the course, keep up with your materials. And don't forget that you can always ask me questions if you have them. We are heavily reliant on technology for this course since it's completely online. So you'll want to make sure that you review the contingency plans that are listed in your course space. These are things you can do in case your technology fails. Like what if your laptop fails? Or what if you don't have Wi-Fi? Plans on what to do are in that contingency plan. So please take a look at that. I've been teaching this course for a number of years, but for the last 6 months I've been teaching it online. So the course is a work in progress, and your feedback can help make the course better. Back in the spring semester and also over the summer, I asked students in this course what 3 pieces of advice they would give to future students to be successful. And I recorded the most common responses. And these are the 3 pieces of advice that were the most commonly stated. The first thing is to try to listen to lectures the day that they're posted. This class moves fast, but it's doable. The thing that's going to help you is to keep up with the lecture. Don't fall behind. Also, people said that you should do the assignments on time. It's easy to fall behind if you don't keep up. So you want to try to do the assignments the week that they're assigned rather than waiting until a few days before the exam to complete everything and turn it in. Third piece of advice, you may need to budget twice as much time to listen to lectures if you intend on taking a lot of notes. So if we were meeting face to face, I would be lecturing and I might have to pause a few times to repeat something so that you could write that down in your notebook, but a lot of times you would just be furiously writing to try to get notes down, right? Well, since we're online, you have the ability to actually pause the video and write your notes. You may find yourself pausing the video more frequently than you would ask me to pause if we were meeting face to face. So this means that the time to listen to lectures may be a bit longer, especially if you're pausing the videos a lot. So just, keep an eye on how long it takes you to get through the lectures and plan accordingly. So that's it. That's all I'm going to say right now. Again, please, if you haven't read your syllabus, read your syllabus from the first page to the last and ask any questions. Your syllabus, especially at the back, is divided into two parts. One part, one schedule, goes with the tutora, Funk and Case, Introduction to Microbiology. The second part is the same schedule, but with the chapters and page numbers for the OpenStax book. So just be aware of that difference. We're all going to be working from the same dates and the same topics. It's just that the chapters and page numbers might be different. To kind of help you keep up with that, the chapter folders will also list the chapters for both textbooks so that you'll know which chapter you're in for your textbook. Okay, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I highly recommend going ahead and getting the Remind app and using it. If you have any quick questions, it's also a way to just communicate. All right. I look forward to reading your work. Oh, by the way, I have looked at your voice threads and thank you for recording them. If you haven't recorded your voice thread, please go ahead and do that. I will be responding to them in the upcoming week. All right. Good luck with your work. I'll talk with you later. Bye.